Welcome back in. Well, it's time to see what's going on at movie theaters in Toledo. Free Press film editor James A. Molnar is with us this morning.
Today, we have the top picks from the past year. So Toledo obviously received some of these movies a little later than the larger movie theaters. I guess I really didn't know that, but you're just now capping off the list.
Yeah, a lot of critics give their top 10 lists over a month ago, and it's like, hey, the year hasn't even ended. So I wanted the year to end to, you know, kind of the snow day helped. I could kind of catch up on a few movies and bring you my top 10 list. And the first one actually came out at the end of 2012, but it was nominated for Best Documentary Feature at the Oscars. Number 10, it's The Invisible War. This movie kind of documents rape cases in the military and how it sometimes are kind of thrown under the rug. It's a heartbreaking, heart-wrenching movie. I know some people who are in the military, and they're actually, in some sanctions, are actually required to watch this now. And it's just absolutely phenomenal. All right, so the next one actually comes out on DVD on Tuesday, so if you're looking forward to this, and I know you are looking forward to this, Ashley. It is number 9, Fruitful Station, starring Michael B. Jordan. He was on Friday Night Lights, and also Octavia Spencer, wonderful, playing his mother in this movie, about a teenager who kind of is in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it kind of tells you his story about leading up to that, and it's based on a true story too, which I think makes it even more powerful.
I love movies based on true stories. I really do. I love them all. All right,
All right, and then of course number 8, I talked about this a few weeks ago. This is Philomena, starring Judi Dench. She plays a mother kind of going to look for her son, British kind of comedy drama. Look for her to be nominated for an Oscar next week. Phenomenal role, loved her in this. All right, so number 7, still in theaters, and I think a lot of people might have even already seen this and probably could agree with me. It's Katniss Everdeen in The Hunger Games, Catching Fire. Jennifer Lawrence is phenomenal in this.
It was
better than
so
the second movie.
better than the first one.
Yes, and it lines up with the book perfectly. Great movie.
I agree.
Number 6, 12 Years a Slave, going kind of back into the dramatic category. This one is no longer in theaters. You're going to have to wait for it a bit to either come back into theaters or come back on DVD. It's about a free man from the North in the 1800s who is captured and sold into slavery. It takes him about 12 years to get back to his family. And Chiwetel Ejiofor plays the title role, and he is fantastic. He'll be nominated for an Oscar, might even win for Best
Big
Actor.
Oscar buzz.
Yes. So number 5 then is Now You See Me. Now, you and I were talking about this. It's a love or hate movie, and I love this movie. It kind of has a feel of Ocean's 11, kind of a caper, thriller to it, and I just really enjoyed it. Now, in a second viewing, maybe not as good as the first, but I still really enjoy this movie from way back in May. This one's on DVD.
Yeah. Has a large shock value if you're looking for that.
Yes, there you go. And 4 is actually out in theaters starting today. It is Spike Jonze's love movie, Her. It is about Joaquin Phoenix, who falls in love with an operating system voiced by Scarlett Johansson.
This one. I just don't get it. I'm gonna have to see it.
It's really good, and there's more philosophy. There's more philosophy in this movie in 1 minute than there is in most movies in their entire.
It's the mustache. That's what I can't get over.
I'm not a mustache person, but it's good. He's actually good in this movie.
Okay.
It's a great movie.
It's a
great movie.
Okay.
All right, and so number 3 is Oblivion. This one also kind of love or hate it. Tom Cruise is great in this movie. He does what he does best. And the behind the scenes making of featurette on the DVD, phenomenal to see how they made this movie.
I'll have to check that out.
Love this movie. Great throwback to classic sci-fi. All right, so number 2 then is kind of another one of my favorite movies, obviously, of the year, and it's Saving Mr. Banks. It's a Disney movie about making a Disney movie. It's a great movie about making a great movie. Mary Poppins, loved it. Emma Thompson, going to be nominated for an Oscar, maybe even win it. Love her in this. Tom Hanks, you just forget that he's Tom Hanks when he's playing Walt Disney.
All right,
and of course, number 1 movie of the year is Gravity. Alfonso Cuarón is just phenomenal. He could win Best Director at the Oscars this year. This is just a captivating experience. It's actually back in theaters next Friday. They're re-releasing it, and it's phenomenal. See it in 3D, see it in IMAX. Loved it.
I love that you picked some of the Oscar buzz movies, like a lot of critics, but you also picked some of the movies that I think a lot of us average Joes are going to enjoy.
I try to mix it up.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Kimberly, well, it's time to see what's going on at the movie theaters, and Toledo Free Press film editor James A. Molnar is with us this morning.
Yes, and today he has the top 10 picks of 2013, right?
Yes, I do. You know, I always like to, a lot of the top 10 lists from big critics come out in early December, and of course we're in Toledo. I have to wait till the movies get to Toledo.
True.
And of course, now that we're a few days into the new year and the polar vortex has left us, I can finally tell you my top 10 movies of the year. And the first one I'd like to start with is, of course, number 10. It's The Invisible War. This movie actually came out at the end of 2012, but it was nominated for Best Documentary Feature at the Oscars last year, and it didn't win, but this one details the heartbreaking tale of rape in the military and how a lot of women had to report it and their struggle. And this is a very powerful film. Of course, all these films on my top 10 list I've given 5 out of 5 stars. So this one, if you haven't seen it, it's a documentary, it's out. I would go and find it because it's phenomenal, powerful, and it'll break your heart.
All right.
And of course, the next movie will probably break your heart as well. It's Fruitvale Station. It came out over the summer, and this stars Michael B. Jordan as a teenager who kind of gets a run-in with the law, and it's based on a true story. He ends up dying, and you have to kind of figure out. They kind of tell you his story. Octavia Spencer plays his mother, and she's absolutely phenomenal in this. I'd like to see either of them get Oscar nominations next week, but we'll see what happens with that. But once again, this one is a phenomenal movie if you can find it.
I haven't heard of, I'm glad you came into our lives, because now I feel like I'm much more aware of the movies, because the last two I didn't hear of last year. Okay, so
yes.
I've got to see those.
Yes, and of course number 8 I talked about a few weeks ago right here on Fox Toledo. It's Philomena with Judi Dench. She is phenomenal in this movie, and she plays a woman who had to give up a child when she was younger, and she goes on searching for her son, and he's pictured there in the poster. So this one is one to see. It's definitely a performance piece. You will laugh a little, you'll cry a little. It's a really enjoyable movie.
All right, number 7?
To it.
Sure. This one, of course, if you haven't seen it, this one is with Katniss Everdeen, Jennifer Lawrence, Hunger Games: Catching Fire. Absolutely wonderful movie, better than the first one. And you know, I always like to kind of sprinkle my list with various different things here and there, and this one is kind of my action film, although I do have a few more coming up on the list. But I love this movie. And at number 6, we have, this one could win Best Picture at the Oscars this year. This is 12 Years a Slave, about a free man from the North getting sold into slavery, and kind of telling the story of him trying to get out of slavery. Chiwetel Ejiofor is the guy that will probably be nominated and possibly win the Best Actor Oscar for playing this role. And number 5 came out really earlier this year, and as you see, there's kind of the recap of the bottom half of my top 10 list. And for number 5, this one, people might argue with me on this one, but I loved Now You See Me. This movie was kind of Ocean's 11 style magic. You weren't quite sure what was going on with the story, and it was a fun kind of almost a caper. Like, how did they do this, and what's kind of going on with that? I don't know if either of you saw this movie.
I haven't seen this one.
We're gonna have to add a lot of these to our list. That's for sure.
But this one is out on DVD and Blu-ray if you want to check it out. It's great. And this next one actually comes out today in Toledo. Number 4, Her, Joaquin Phoenix, Amy Adams. It's a Spike Jonze movie, and it's about Joaquin Phoenix's character is dating a computer operating system voiced by Scarlett Johansson. I wasn't quite sure if I would like this movie. I loved this movie. It was phenomenal. It had more philosophy in 1 minute of this movie than most major movies had all year.
Very interesting.
So I loved this movie. Number 3, once again, people I think will either love or hate this movie. It's Oblivion. This starred Tom Cruise, also had Morgan Freeman in it. Loved this movie. Great movie. Number 2, I talked about a few weeks ago here on the show, Saving Mr. Banks. Loved this movie. It's a Disney movie about a Disney movie, and it's a great movie about making an amazing movie, Mary Poppins. So
I've heard really good
go
things
see
about
this one
this
if
one.
you're
All right,
if it's still in
last
theater.
one?
And last one, of course, is Gravity, which is coming back in theaters next week for kind of an awards push. It's going to do really well at the Oscar nominations next Thursday, and of course, really well winning. And maybe even Sandra Bullock might get some more love from them.
All right, which
so
we don't mind.
Those are my top 10 movies of 2013.
Thank you.
Love
Yeah,
it.
we
Thank you,
now
Lots
have a
of
list. We
movies to
gotta
see.
see. Yeah, no kidding. I'm going to be very busy this weekend.